going through who his rumored favorites for offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator are, but also dive into how important it is that he has John Stretch Stryker rejoining him on his coaching staff, coming over from LA. That's a guy that spent time with him in Tennessee, was known as his own Ernie Adams. Yes, Mike Vrabel wasn't coached by Bill Belichick as a coach, but certainly picked up some things from Bill Belichick from being around him as a player, which includes his own game management, game time, decision-making guy to have with him. It's really important he's bringing with him, and hear why I like him bringing him back, especially because of the resume he has outside of Mike Vrabel. That's Foxborough Rush, wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime. You could also watch it on Nesson's YouTube page, Facebook, Twitch as well. That's Foxborough Rush, wherever you like to listen to your podcast. Now, let's get to the chat. All right, what's happening? Welcome in. It's Boston has entered the chat. George Balekji here with Natalie Noury. Natalie, how we doing today on the chat?
We're good, George. How are you?
Good to have you back on. I know we got a packed show. We're going to go through some new hirings around the NFL. We're going to talk some F1, which is my favorite, of course. More on the Dodgers continuing to defer money, get big money free agents, and what it means for MLB. We also dive into what the losers of the divisional round of the NFL are looking forward to. And then we talk some women's Beanpot championship night as well. Natalie will be hosting and post on Nesson. You can find her. We'll dive in. We also got an interview with Taze Thompson of NU as well. But let's get right into it with what's trending. Ben Johnson, officially the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Official. It's all reported. It's out there. But this was seen as to make sense. Ben Johnson was one of the hottest head coaching names out there. Certainly the guy I wanted the Patriots to hire. He's going to Chicago. He's being paired up with Caleb Williams. That's a big deal for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. And just big news in the NFL. Staying in the NFC North, very competitive. I'm excited to see that quarterback offensive mind combination happening up in Chicago, though.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect point there, because I think it is one of the most dominant offenses in the NFL being paired with Caleb Williams. And it's exciting for people to see where that's going to go. I have a friend in Chicago, actually. He is a quarterback coach himself, but he's like, I'm really excited to see this pair. I'm excited to see like how great of a fit it was too, because especially staying kind of in the same area, like the competition there, but it's just going to be exciting. Now, was Ben Johnson someone that you wanted for the Patriots? That's what you said?
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
I want him. I mean, he was a premier guy when it comes to offensive-minded coaches throughout on this hiring cycle. And you pair him with the Caleb Williams. Caleb checks all the boxes. I just think he needs to be more well-coached to how to see the game.
Right.
You get someone with him like Ben Johnson. These are guys, if Johnson works out as a good head coach, they'll be together for 10, 15 years. And that's what the plan, that's a dream for any NFL team is. Caleb Williams, when it comes to his ability on the field, that's Patrick Mahomes, that's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's had an issue with translating to the NFL game, translating to an NFL offense, taking on NFL defenses, seeing the game on the field. But a Ben Johnson fills in that gap for him.
Right.
And that's where the compliment, how much it can complement each other. What Ben Johnson did with Jared Goff, I mean, had him looking like prime Tom Brady this past season on how quick he was with decision-making, how good he was against a blitz.
Yep.
You put that with Caleb Williams, who has all the ability, just needs to work on the IQ part of the game. That's where it could really work out.
I feel like Caleb Williams was kind of lacking, not really that mentorship, but just like a strong, offensive mind. I guess we'll say that again. Because I feel like I was actually just talking about this with my dad the other day. Jaden Daniels went second in the draft. Caleb Williams went first.
Yep.
And in my dad's words, he was like, I feel like, Caleb came in and hasn't really done much. I feel Jaden, really took off. Caleb kind of fell into the background. But I think the addition of Ben Johnson will really allow Caleb Williams to kind of find himself a little more, find his game a little more, develop that confidence. And I think the longevity aspect of that is pretty cool too, because you're really building a strong foundation. Chicago could use it too, the Bears.
They need it. They need it. And what's important too is they're going to have a lot of cap space coming up this offseason, almost $70 million. They have two good tackles. They need to fix the interior offensive line. They have good receivers. They have good running backs, good tight ends for pass catching, a good quarterback on what should be good at minimum. You get the right offensive mind in, and then a defense that was already in a good spot.
Yeah.
We'll see how he fills out the rest of the staff, but they just needed someone to actually have that offense up and running at full go, and that's what this hire does. And with Chicago, they've had a lot of bad luck, a lot of bad run with quarterbacks they've drafted, and they just haven't developed under them. And obviously their long playoff drought, what they've been on. But you get someone like a Ben Johnson, that he should solve a lot of the issues.
Do you think the name Caleb Williams was really a catalyst for him to get this job too?
Definitely.
Because he turns down, or he removes himself from the Commander's job, right?
Raiders job.
The Raiders
and
job.
Jaguars.
Okay, and then what did he interview with a few other teams in December?
Those are the three I know he interviewed with.
Yeah.
And he interviewed with the Patriots as well. They
Right.
took the choice out of his hands.
Yep.
But he interviewed with the Jaguars. He interviewed with the Raiders. This hiring doesn't happen if Caleb Williams isn't there.
Right.
So that's what it is. As an offensive coordinator, you want the quarterback to be paired with you, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Speaking of successful quarterbacks and good pairings of offensive coordinators, we're getting Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes 9 this upcoming weekend. That's going to be the AFC Championship game. They're 4-4 all time, but Josh Allen 0-3 in the playoffs against Patrick Mahomes. Of course, Mahomes now in his 7th straight AFC Championship game. I can't wait for this. You get Allen versus Mahomes. You get two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL squaring off. I want to see the Bills pull off an upset. But this is also something like for Patriots fans, it's hard to witness. Like, let's think about it. Bills win. Good. They beat Kansas City. Good. There's no three-peat. Good. Kansas City's kept out of the Super Bowl.
Right.
Bad. Bills are the king of the AFC. Bad. The Bills could win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If the Chiefs win, the Bills are still the Bills. They're ringless. They can't win big games. But then the Chiefs continue to run the AFC. So if you're a Patriots fan watching, you're like, we don't want them three-peating because that would take away from the dynasty.
Yeah.
We don't want them doing well because they can't stand Mahomes because that was once Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Yep.
And you don't want the Bills to win because that's a team you used to always beat up, but they'd be the king of the AFC. I guess Patriots fans, it's rooting for the NFC at this point.
Yeah, and you know what? I guess I'm just gonna say, like, I'm kind of tired of seeing the Chiefs. Like, they're good. It's justifiable, but I don't want to see them win this game. I really want to see Josh Allen take off here, and it's really disappointing because he doesn't have the kind of resume that a Tom Brady or Peyton Manning would have. But if he were to come out on top, and this would be the second time. I mean, like postseason though, so they beat the Chiefs, 30-23 or something?
That was
in the
regular season, yeah. But when they met in the playoffs, the Chiefs are 3-0 against Josh Allen.
And why is that?
The Chiefs are they've been the best roster. Mahomes is the best quarterback. This Bills team, though, their offensive line is sneaky good. Their D-line is good. Not the best against a run, but this is a defense that wins at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
And it's also come down to overtime losses between the Chiefs and Bills too. There's a whole reason the overtime rule was changed for both teams to basically get a possession. So coin flips have decided these results.
Yeah.
That shows how close it is, and that's what makes it exciting for this matchup.
Do you think the Bills defense left the wide receivers open too much with Baltimore though? I feel like
that's where I worry.
Yeah.
It's this secondary. It's good. Rasul Douglas is a good piece. I do have my worries, but also this Chiefs offense, the Chiefs are still just getting by. So that's where there isn't this overconfidence the Chiefs will dominate them. Yeah, the Bills, and how the Bills did win in their fashion. They dominated the first half. The second half was all Baltimore.
Yep.
And look, it came down to a Mark Andrews dropping a 2-point conversion, but you're at home. Bills can play on the road. Their game travels.
Right.
Josh Allen and that run game travels, and I think that's what's important. That's what I think of more. It is how a defense matches up. But I don't believe in this Chiefs team that they can put up 30 points. And for the Bills, can you put up 35, let's say? You put up 35, you should win because we haven't seen this Chiefs offense open up yet this season.
Well, and that's the thing. I was reading a point. Kelsey elevates during playoff time.
Yeah.
What did he, 7 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown for him the last game.
Yeah.
What do you think?
He played well, and then no one out of Xavier Worthy had a reception as for the wide receiving room for the Chiefs. So, there is, you take out one guy, and Sean McDermott, he does scheme good game plans defensively at times. I don't love Sean McDermott. I don't love this Bills defense. It's more of wanting to see Josh Allen and the Bills pull off this upset. That's what it is. It's more of want to see that.
We're pulling for Josh. I'm so excited.
Unofficial Bills podcast for a week, I guess. It feels wrong to say that in Boston, but
you know what? Sorry, I know the buzzer went off, but the amount of freaking Bills memorabilia that I saw in the city of Boston yesterday was overwhelming. It was wrong. Overwhelmed, but I was just
Melting
wow.
Pot City, a lot of people from Buffalo come here. Boston's better than Buffalo, to live in.
Totally.
Objectively.
100%.
Yeah, so that's going to happen. Take it as a compliment, I guess.
Yeah.
It's more of a reflection on the Patriots, too. Buffalo fans are feel like they can wear that. No worries. No. Robert Kraft, wake up, is becoming the Bill City quietly. And I guess, again, hey, for Patriots fans, comment who you're rooting for. Are you rooting for the NFC? Are you rooting for the Bills? Chiefs, let us know. It is the chat. Join the conversation. You need to grab that?
Yes.
Grab it.
We had a little
podcasting. It happens. Technical difficulty.
We got
all right, and Natalie's back with us.
We're back. Yeah.
So, the big news. This is exciting for me to talk about. Formula One. Lewis Hamilton officially day one He is with a Tifosi. He is with Ferrari. He's now making the move to become Ferrari's next F1 driver. And you see the image there, Formula One putting it out. What's significant is that Lewis Hamilton, who at one point, you could say, people would say he's the greatest driver of all time, that is taken in front of Enzo Ferrari's house in Fiorano. He is the second Ferrari driver ever given the privilege to live at Enzo Ferrari's house, which is part of his contract. On top of making like 40, 50 million a year for Ferrari, he's allowed to live there as well. But this is huge for what it does for the landscape of Formula One. That shows the respect and what Lewis Hamilton has earned. He's a 7-time World Drivers' Championship winner. He's won 6 of those with Mercedes. He had 84 wins when he was with Mercedes before making the move to Ferrari. That's the most for a single driver team pairing in F1 history. And before he got to Mercedes, Mercedes had 1 win in their last 50 races prior.
Yeah.
He goes to Ferrari. As it's changed, there's a lot of regulations that happen in Formula One. You go back to 2014. This is what had Mercedes get great, was the regulations were all about the engine. 2022, it was more chassis and aerodynamics. A great engine can overcome bad aerodynamics on a car. Bad aerodynamics on a car, though, once that changes and you can't catch up and you make those adjustments, it can leave you behind. So the engine allowed Mercedes to catch up paired with a great driver like Lewis.
Yeah.
When the aerodynamics came into it in 2022, Mercedes fell behind. Ferrari made that step forward. You have one of the greatest drivers of all time with the, I would say, second best car on the circuit.
Yeah.
It's McLaren. It's Ferrari, it's Red Bull, Aston Martin, and Mercedes.
Yeah.
This is exciting, and I say it we've seen Max Verstappen win time and time again.
Yeah.
This actually will be a competitive season coming up because Red Bull has taken a step back. Aston Martin will get better with the addition of Adrian Newey, and now Ferrari with 2 very good drivers in Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton as well. It's wide open. Anyone, as a driver, can win this upcoming season. I'm just excited to see Lewis make this switch.
Yeah, no, I'm learning so much just from listening to you.
There's a lot. There's a brain dump.
I don't watch Formula One, first of all. And what? So Sainz with Ferrari gets to live at the Enzo Ferrari house?
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Like, is that the place with the red shutters?
Yeah. That was his house that he lived just outside of Bologna, Italy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, where their headquarters are.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
very historical.
Imagine,
very cool, yeah.
That is, imagine Ben Johnson becomes head coach of the Bears, and the McCaskies are like, here's our grandparents' house. Like, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Or if, Aaron Judge, imagine if Juan Soto did sign with the Yankees, and the Steinbrenners are like, here's George's old house. Like, that's where he's basically living.
It's just kind of like the White House in a way. You
Yeah.
get the job, you live in the house.
Oh, with Ferrari, it's like that. Like how
That's
rabid
sick.
that fan base is in racing. Like Ferrari, they haven't had a World Drivers' Championship in a long time.
Yeah.
If he returns them to those heights, then he's already a legend, but that puts him as a legend in the country of Italy if he brings them this success.
So you could take the driver out of the car, put him in a different car, and you think that's going to be better for him?
Yes.
Okay.
Better for Lewis. The driver matters for sure because it's all about being a great driver, is pushing the car to its limits and sometimes past it, and having a feel for just how to manage a race altogether. But it matters when the car comes into play of, again, as I put it, in 2014, there was a different type of engine brought into play, and that got Mercedes paired with Lewis to the top of the standings. But when the aerodynamics changed and Mercedes couldn't make adjustments and figure out the aerodynamics which matter, that's when they fell behind. And that's when Ferrari, again, the engines put them behind, aerodynamics got them to catch up. Now they just need that special driver.
Interesting. Maybe I'll tune into this. I don't know about anything about it.
I always recommend watch Drive to Survive on Netflix. That gives you the storylines.
Okay, cool.
And that starts you way back, I think, 2018.
Yeah.
Formula One for me, as much as I get in the weeds of it, it is my like escape of I can watch. It doesn't feel like work. It's not football, hockey, baseball, NBA. And Sunday morning, you wake up, 9 a.m., race starts. It's over by 10:30. You have the rest of your day. Compared to the NFL, it starts at 1 and it's your whole day. Your Sunday's gone.
Yes. Okay, interesting. All right. Well, I'll take your word for it.
They race all around Europe. Italy, Spain, Hungary, Brazil.
Pretty to see.
Montreal. Yeah, they got it all. Hey, if you're enjoying the conversation, be sure to tune in Monday through Friday to Boston Has entered the chat. We talk all about the latest news in sports in Boston and around the country and the world when we're talking F1 each and every day. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or wherever else you get your podcasts. That's Boston Has entered the chat, wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. All right, Natalie. So the Dodgers, they did it again.
They keep doing it, man.
I know. They signed 23-year-old Roki Sasaki, who was one of the most coveted free agent pitchers on the market.
Yep.
Of course, coming from Japan, just 23 years old. But they signed him to a contract. They combined that with Tanner Scott, who is the most sought-after relief pitcher on the free agent market.
Yep.
You go earlier in free agency, they signed Blake Snell.
Yep.
Of course, you look at them as a whole. Blake Snell, Roki Sasaki, Teoscar Hernandez, Tanner Scott, Haesung Kim, all guys that they have signed. And now, with going back to the past offseason, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, they signed, who rocky start to the season, picked it up at the end. They're coming off a World Series win.
Yeah.
It's just the Dodgers. They keep doing it.
They keep, and you know what? You name all those names, and then you take a look at how much money was spent. I mean, I can't even do the math quickly enough, but they are... It's just investment. When you talk business, the Dodgers are displaying exactly what the heck a business is. And it's great. Honestly, coming from an area of the world where people are constantly pressuring more investment in their team and their players. In the Boston Red Sox, it's like the Dodgers are doing exactly what fans are probably calling for. But
go all out. Find every avenue to get the best free agents.
And is that pushing the limits of the MLB? Is that pressuring other teams? Is that pressuring other ownerships? Like, I don't know. I mean, is it unfair what they're doing? Or, do you see this as just an internal business and what they're doing?
Right now on the books, they have over $1 billion in deferred money.
And
the next closest are the Mets and actually the Red Sox, the only other teams that are above $100 million in deferred money. But think about it. They won the World Series in 2020. They obviously just won it in 2024. And this comes after they had all that deferred money for Shohei Ohtani, where he only counts $2.5 million against the books right now. But when you go through the numbers, their payroll this season will actually be $312 million. That leads MLB. So they have the most deferred money in MLB. They also have the highest payroll this season in MLB. It's just basically what they've been able to put together through the past two free agencies. Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, Yamamoto, Gonsolin, now Sasaki, and maybe Shohei Ohtani ends up becoming a pitcher, maybe let's say every 6-7 games at some point this upcoming season. And of course, they have Shohei, the best DH in baseball. They have Mookie Betts, one of the best players in baseball. Freddie Freeman, the best first baseman. Teoscar Hernandez, Will Smith, Tommy Edman, Max Muncy. The Dodgers, basically, at this point, like, you can divide that rotation roster and bullpen up into two separate teams.
You're right.
And they would still be like a playoff caliber team. They're like that regional high school you had growing up that like was so good. They would actually send their like B team to varsity tournaments and they would win. That's what the Dodgers are at this point.
And it's like, anybody who's not a Dodgers fan will look at this and roll their eyes because they're like, "Oh my God, how can you get any better? How could you continue to do this?" But like, they have the money to do it. They're not afraid to do it. They're rolling on a high streak right now, coming off of the World Series win.
And like, you have to, it's these players take the deferred money, but they give a lot of guaranteed. But it's also like the World Series matters. They're like, cool, I'll go to LA. I'll play with the best player possibly ever to ever play in MLB. And I'm going to win a World Series, and I'm still going to get paid. I just got to wait on the payday. I would take it all. It makes sense.
And I like that. You were like, it's guaranteed, whatever you just said. I think that's important because it was like one of those things where it's like last season's Red Sox, people were feeling good about them, confident about them, and then they get hit with the injury bug, and it was just injury after injury. Being in Worcester, I saw so many rehabbers, and it was almost like, this is great for Worcester because we continue to win games. However, for the big league club, they're missing a lot of pieces. So when you think about we talk about longevity again, that postseason run, it's like the Dodgers are solidifying it ahead of time, just continuing to justify why they're a powerhouse.
They won the World Series in 5 games. Like, they took on the best team in the AL and they just beat them with no issue at all. Just the lineup was ferocious, and their starting pitching wasn't even that good like when they got to the World Series. It was patching it together, getting quality starts wherever they could find them. And even think of what they did in this offseason between like Blake Snell and Tanner Scott. I understand all the deferment money talk. Those guys still got a combined $81 million in guaranteed money out of their possible max value of their contracts. It's $254 million they can earn combined. They got $81 million at signing. So. And with Tanner Scott as a relief pitcher, it's $21 million they gave him. And I said it what they have on the books. And it's how they assembled this team too, where now between Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, and Roki Sasaki, that is the top 3 of the 2023 World Baseball Classic rotation. Shohei hasn't pitched for the Dodgers yet. Maybe he will. But no matter what Yamamoto can be and what Roki Sasaki can be, again, Sasaki's just 23 years old, where he has 3+ pitches. It's not like the fastball is his thing and then splitter and slider are just okay. No. Those are all plus pitches for him. He's 6'3", and what he can become, what he's projected as, is to possibly be an ace for ball clubs. And that's not thrown around a lot by Major League Baseball scouts and front office execs. But that's what comes with him. It just seems ridiculous that the Dodgers keep doing it, but they keep on doing it. And you go through their lineup, And it's basically they outside of like second base, it feels like they have a top 10, top 5 guy at every position throughout the lineup.
Right.
And at the top of their rotation between Snell and Glass. Now, those are like top 10, top 15 guys for starting pitchers in MLB too.
Yeah. And then I think something you just mentioned, Yamamoto, Ohtani, and then Sasaki reunited. You know, they were on Team Japan, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Think about that clubhouse. You know, how much fun it is to be in that clubhouse, first of all, when you have so much success, but to bring old friends in and to people who speak the same language.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes for a really good team culture, too.
I can only imagine what it does for the Dodgers brand, too.
Yeah.
Because, again, and sports is business. You bring in those three, let alone you bring in Shohei Ohtani, but then you bring in a Yamamoto and Sasaki. If those guys even come close to living up to what their expectations are, the Dodgers, like, I bet if you travel to Japan, you're going to see LA Dodgers hats everywhere.
100%.
And that's the international business that comes with baseball as well. Japan's already a baseball crazed country. They love it. There's a reason where Sasaki comes from, the Nippon Baseball League, the Pond Baseball League is such a big deal.
Yeah.
So you combine that with these guys internationally being stars. I mean, that's where all of a sudden you can see a Dodgers influence internationally and just expands them to a global brand. So as they defer the money, they're going to see it where it's just like X times the amount that anyone would expect on what they can make in profits because of it's bigger than being in LA. It's bigger than being in the US. It truly is an international market for this team now by building out this star-studded top of a rotation, you can say.
Right. It's kind of exciting. I don't know why I just thought about this, but 2028, the Olympics will be in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And they are bringing baseball back because that's something that the city of Los Angeles decided was beneficial to the Olympics here in the United States of America. If we're going to have it in LA, there's going to be baseball.
Yeah.
So to have a home team like the Los Angeles Dodgers, bringing in so many, let's say like international influences with these three, and then like, honestly, I'd even say some people over here on the East Coast are kind of Dodgers fans after Mookie Betts too.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are still in support of him and like want him to do well with the team he's at currently. So I don't know. I think it's just a good reflection. They are just kind of like expanding themselves past state lines and I don't know, just building a case for themselves. I think it's kind of cool. I feel like there's a lot of following for the Dodgers for not just sport reasons, but personal reasons. And I don't know. I think it's cool.
Well, and it's just watching what Shohei can be. I mean, it's insane. He's one of the best hitters, if not the best hitter in baseball.
Yeah.
He is a top of the line starting pitcher. And then when he can't pitch because of Tommy John surgery, he's like, fine, I'm going to become the best base runner ever. Yeah. And I'm going to get into the 40-40, 50-50, whatever you name it, I'm going to do that. And that's what he accomplished this past season.
Right.
So it's, the Dodgers do it by deferring over $1 billion, which is insane. The rest of Major League Baseball combined doesn't even come close to that number.
Yeah.
But they're doing it with the guaranteed money and the deferment, and they're just figuring this out. And that's a reflection. The president of baseball ops for them, Andrew Friedman, that's a guy that, I mean, just like you said, it's a start, Natalie. Whatever it takes, that's the mindset of this ball club.
Yeah.
And people have to love that. And I don't blame them. I would love it too if I was a fan of the Dodgers.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if Ohtani, so it says he's expected to take the mound again during the 2025 season.
We'll see when.
It's almost like, okay, what more can the Dodgers do?
Yeah.
You know, they've already proven themselves in more ways than one. Ohtani's proven himself that if like one aspect of his game is out of commission, he's going to excel in the other. I mean, he was outstanding. 3rd MVP award last year. 38 doubles, 54 home runs, 130 RBIs, 59 stolen bases.
Yeah.
So I love watching him. I know people in the Red Sox organization who I work with also love watching Shohei Ohtani. It's hard not to like the guy. So I'd love to see how much he can push his limits if he gets back to pitching.
And just think about it again. You go through the top 3 of what the rotation is for now. It's Glasnow, Snell, Yamamoto. And just imagine once every 7 games, you have Ohtani take the mound, and it gives your rotation a break, and it helps him get to the postseason. Or if he's good, you just ease him in, and then postseason baseball comes, and he could be that guy that just starts a game, gives the entire, basically rotation a rest, or it's just someone like a long-term out-getter, you can say, or a long-term relief pitcher, however it could be. And like Clayton Kershaw is still on the roster. If he can get healthy, and same thing, maybe he could be something as well. As someone that still wins. So look, they win it all in 2024, and what fans want to see is a team and ownership continue to triple, quadruple down on winning it all. That's what they did with this move. It's insane. They signed Sasaki. We don't know the full numbers yet. And it's not the gaudiest number because they had to get him over from Japan. So it's more of that affects their international pool money. But it's what they did with the Tanner Scotts, the Blake Snells, Teoscar Hernandez, and of course going back to last offseason with Shohei Ohtani. When Mookie got his massive payday, over $300 million contract, a lot of deferred money in that too, but a lot of guaranteed money. The Dodgers just do it time and time again.
And I'm excited to see how this season in its entirety plays out for the Dodgers, because I think if this is how the offseason went for them and they filter into a very successful, say they go on a postseason run, say there's another World Series win, this 100% has to put pressure on other ball clubs to do the same. Invest. And I think a lot of people are looking for, the Guardians to do that, the White Sox or the Cubs Cubs, Red Sox, all that. It's like it's going to put so much pressure on people to invest, to spend money on their teams, and to solidify a roster who they think is going to make them successful.
Yeah, I think Mets with Steve Cohen is putting pressure, especially like on the Yankees in their own city. But you would imagine when everyone does that, it's within the rules. They're finding a way, so it's how other teams can do it. Hey, you want the latest on the Patriots and the NFL? Drake May needs help, and we discuss how he can get it quick on Ness's football podcast, Foxborough Rush. That's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. That's Foxborough Rush. New episodes dropping every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yes, 3 days a week, all throughout the offseason, wherever you get your podcasts. So we talked about at the top of the show a little bit where we unofficially became a Buffalo Bills podcast. Still feels weird to see.
Go, Josh.
But basically you run through the divisional round. Chiefs beat the Texans. Commanders beat the Lions, which biggest upset probably I would say this season in football. Just people did not see that happening. Lions were decimated, but for the Commanders to beat them and in the fashion they did to dominate them. Eagles beat the Rams. Bills beat the Ravens, where Lamar had two bad turnovers, bad his team in it in the end. But a Mark Andrews drop pass just left a lot to be desired. Let's start with the Ravens. Lamar's now 3-5 in the playoffs. He has 13 total touchdowns and 11 turnovers over his career in the postseason. And he just continues to shrink in the bigger moments where he played good in the second half. He bounced back well. But even the fumble he had, bad snap over his head, he's just trying to recover at that point, and Lamar is Lamar. He'll always make big plays, but it was a bad fumble. Like the ball security, end of the day, has to be what his priority is. And look, if Mark Andrews catches it, falls in the back of the end zone, who knows what happens in overtime? Instead of 3-5, he could be 4-4, pushing his way to be 5-4 if he upset Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. But this Ravens team, it's the question marks moving forward. Like, is Lamar the guy? They paid him. You got to stick with him. John Harbaugh, how many times can you come up short in the playoffs before maybe there needs to be a change that happens in the head coaching position? Baltimore has a lot of answers, but still a lot of question marks moving forward.
Yeah, and I think the second half was a bit of a nail biter for a lot of people who were pulling for the Bills because the Ravens, like you said, second half was all Ravens. And it was even like the final, drive of the game for the Bills. When they try to run it, couldn't go anywhere with it, ended up having to kick it. It was just one of those things where people were rolling their eyes like, what the heck is happening in the second half? But I mean, I was going to probably go into that game saying the Bills were going to win anyways. I mean, I like Lamar Jackson. I like what he's done, what we've seen. But again, I'm a Josh Allen fan. So I wanted to see Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes once again. I will say this Rams-Eagles, I know we talked about this, very, very minor subject, but the weather looked awful for that game. I think it was 11 degrees when the Bills and Ravens kicked off too. That's brutal.
I know.
That's terrible to play in. I don't know if that had any kind of impact, but it just
definitely
didn't look fun.
Especially on the Rams. I mean, that's a dome team coming from the West Coast playing in Philly. Buffalo doesn't want to put a roof on their brand new stadium.
I don't know what it is.
They want to play in the elements. They don't even want a retractable roof, it seems like. It's insane to me.
Minnesota, they have a retractable roof. Sure.
Yes. No, it's enclosed.
Who has the retractable roof?
Falcons have retractable. I know Cardinals, Texans do. Trying to think northern teams, but like Baltimore, New England, Buffalo, Kansas City, all open air. Packers, of course, open air. Bears, open air.
It's like they just embrace.
Minnesota knows with the amount of snow they get, they're like, we cannot. And you do that, that gets you to host a Super Bowl too. Like there are two plays to building a stadium for a city. Can we host Super Bowls? A roof does that for you. And also, like, we know where we are and where we're based. We need to be able to make that happen. I know MetLife did, and it was like uncommonly warm, like 50 degrees that day in February that year. But it happens. With the Ravens, I mean, there is that impact on the field. And you mentioned it with the Ravens, Buffalo dealing with the cold. Rams, Eagles, they dealt with the snow too. We just saw Saquon Barkley once again just go off. And this is a Rams team that played the second hardest schedule in the NFL. They get a game away from being back in the NFC Championship game. It came down to the wire. Jalen Carter for Philly making 2 huge plays on 3rd down with the sack, 4th down, hitting Matt Stafford, rushing the throw, and it just wasn't even close, and that decided the game. This is a Rams team. It's interesting. Matt Stafford, still 2 years left on his contract, going to be 37 years old, still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. They need to start looking at the now. What do they do to, make sure they maximize his remaining window? But also long-term, like, who do they draft at quarterback? Could it be a Jackson Dart or a Dylan Gabriel? Is it possibly a Quinn Ewers? Do you wait till next draft? It's Drew Aller because they need to find the successor, maybe that bridge quarterback. But also they can still get the most out of Matt Stafford being paired up with Sean McVay.
Yeah, and I think just looking at next week in particular too, I think that in a way, I think that's going to be more exciting than the Super Bowl itself.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, especially like Commanders fans, I know I talked about this last time, but the Commanders having something to cheer for was not necessarily expected, but it's like, I think it's exciting. I'm always one for the underdog. I mean, I don't really care about like the nitty gritty of it, but I'm like, oh, they haven't been in the playoffs or they haven't been in the Super Bowl. Let them cook. You know what I mean? So I'm excited. I think it would be really cool to see Commanders Bills. That's not going to happen, but I think it would be really cool to see that.
Yeah, it's when I look at the Commanders, how great of a story that is. Like Jaden Daniels, he's arrived 2 road playoff wins as a rookie quarterback. That's unheard of. Just thinking of comparing him to Dak Prescott's resume, that I think he has 1 road playoff win. He's 1-2 on the road in the postseason. Jaden Daniels is 2-0, but it's just his rookie season. Yeah. And look, now the expectations are going to be astronomical for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, and they could be the next Texans. You get to this point, now all of a sudden everyone's going to be saying Super Bowl when that's unfair expectations because they're ahead of schedule. But this is Jaden Daniels, like carrying a top 5 offense with a bottom 10 defense in the NFL, matched up with the Eagles though. And to me, I've said it, and it's been the last few weeks where how this Eagles defense has gotten better and better, and the lines have gotten banged up. To me, this is the Eagles Super Bowl to lose. As crazy as that is with Mahomes being on the other side, you look at, and it's because it's Saquon Barkley or bust. Eventually, Jalen Hurts is going to have to make plays. But when they're taking on the 16th, 19th, or 21st ranked run defenses in EPA that are remaining, or when it comes to success rate that they allow, Kansas City is 12th, Washington is 16th, and Buffalo is 23rd. So basically in the success rate is it a positive play for the offense? Is it efficient where if it's 3rd and 7, do you get 7 yards? If it's 2nd and 5, do you at least get 3 yards? Like that's what success rates are. Saquon Barkley can't be stopped. And we saw a Rams defense that dominated the Vikings at the line of scrimmage, couldn't do the same against the Eagles. That's why I think with the run game, with as good as this defense is, what they do to disrupt the pocket from the inside, it's Saquon Barkley and the Eagles. I just think you move forward with them. Is that okay? I think it would be them representing the NFC. Yep. And again, it's the Chiefs. How do you bet against Mahomes? But I think it's more important of who can beat the Chiefs, and it's the Eagles, in my opinion.
So you think it's going to be Chiefs-Eagles?
Yeah, and I think it would be Eagles at that point, lifting Lombardi as well.
Oh, you think so? I don't like either of those teams, man. And that's why I'm thinking and not, like I said, not going to happen. Could happen, but Commanders, Bills, I think would just be like the ultimate underdog story because, I mean, people have been pulling for both those teams for so long. It would just be really kind of cool, refreshing to see new teams. Yeah. I remember that year in college when the Eagles upset the Patriots. And I had the privilege of being in college when the Patriots were just hot. You know, it was like downtown Super Bowl parade, whatever. You know, they win and then every kid goes downtown. I got to see that like 2 or 3 years out of the years that I was in college, except for that 1 year by the Eagles. And there were a couple of Phillies kids, you know, from our football team at UNH. And it was just like, just obnoxious in a way where it's like,
it's Philly.
It's Philly.
Special type of a-hole that comes out of Philadelphia.
Yes. So, but you know what? I'm all for good football. If you can play, then go for it.
I like when you point out the underdogs, found this, that here's the days since the Super Bowl appearance. For Kansas City, 358 days, no duh. Yeah. Eagles, 722 days. Bills, 1,457 days. Yep. Commanders, 12,062 days since their last Super Bowl appearance.
Let's go Commanders.
That has to be America's team at this point, you know, because people hate Philly, they hate Nick Sirianni. Yeah. Everyone is tired of the Chiefs outside of Kansas City. And with the Bills, good story too, but the Commanders they haven't been there yet. Yeah. They don't have any haters because it's Commanders, it's Jaden Daniels. Yeah. It's definitely like now it's going to be America back in the Commanders. And again, I don't know, everyone that doesn't want to see the Chiefs, it's going to be the Bills and the Commanders going to be the most backed teams moving forward.
100%.
If that's a Super Bowl matchup, that's everyone's dream. They'd love it. You can't go wrong with either winner outside of if you're in New York for the Jets fan, New England, or I guess in Miami. I don't know if they care that much in Miami.
Miraculously, I have a ton of Commanders gear at home, so maybe the next episode we're
What's
on.
that? Oh, you have friends that work for the Commanders, right?
Yeah, they directed the in stadium like entertainment, like the flyovers, the national anthems, all that kind of stuff. So it was cool. I got to go on the sideline during like pregame and see all that kind of stuff. And that was really like my first look. That was my first NFL game I ever went to.
Commanders Patriots preseason?
No, Commanders 49ers.
Oh,
regular season last year. That was really cool, actually.
Awesome.
Two like I don't care about the Commanders back then, but the 49ers were cool to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I have a fondness for them now. So I've got all the gear. I'm gonna break it out next time. And the Commanders, here I am. I'm gonna roll with the bandwagon of this podcast. Initially, I'm like Josh Allen. If the Bills are in the Super Bowl, I'm going Bills. If the Commanders are in the Super Bowl, I'm going Commanders.
What if they're playing each other? Commanders?
Whoever looks like they deserve the win more.
Oh,
I don't know, because like when I have two teams going against each other, I have to be a little more practical and say, okay, who's playing better? Like I don't know. You look
all
at,
right. I mean, the Commanders in that offense are on fire right now. So
who would have home field advantage?
Well, Super Bowl's neutral, so it doesn't. Where is it this year? New Orleans.
Right.
In the playoffs, Kansas City's at home, and then the Eagles are at home.
Okay,
but when it comes
to
Super Bowl, it's
here.
in New Orleans. So
yeah,
I know you have the one game playoff in that.
Yeah.
And also like to get back to the looking forward for the divisional teams for the Lions at this point. It's like who knows what their window is.
Right.
Again, that would have been another team everyone's rooting for because they haven't been there yet.
Yeah,
but. They were upset by the Commanders, which was a shocker. They just lost their offensive coordinator. He's now with the Bears, and everyone expected him to leave. Aaron Glenn, their defensive coordinator, he's expected to take a job by the end of the week at the latest, as Adam Schefter's reported. And how does Dan Campbell replenish that coaching staff? He said that's his job, and he's got to do it. Their whole offensive line's under contract next season. Jared Goff is still there. Basically, the whole offense is back.
Yeah.
This is a defense that needs to get healthy, but losing both your offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator that have been there for 4 years, that is tough to reboot and just fill back in. So the Lions moving forward, roster-wise, you don't have too much to worry about. They got to fix certain spots, get better in the secondary, in my opinion. It's coaching staff-wise, what do they do? And we'll see who does like Ben Johnson take with him to Chicago. Who does Aaron Glenn take with him to wherever he lands too? So that's a big question around Detroit.
And when the offense has responded to Ben Johnson so positively the last year, it's like whoever comes in, it's not only big shoes to fill, but you have a lot of respect to earn from the team too, because they know what they've lost was a valuable piece of their team. So it comes back to that whole just like culture, developing trust, and that's not hard. They're all professionals, but you think about that to an extent, how are they going to rebuild mentally in that kind of case?
Yeah. And the Texans, that's like the afterthought in all this. Change offensive coordinator. Offensive line wasn't good. Yeah. They only have $6 million in cap space, but again, that was a team that was ahead of schedule from the beginning, what they did with CJ Stroud as a rookie. And a front office that has gone all in on capitalizing him on a rookie contract, trading for Danielle Hunter, drafting Will Anderson, signing the defensive backs they have, how they've drafted in the secondary too, Kalen Bullock, Derek Stingley, go out and get a Jalen Petrie and a Jimmy Ward. And with the receiving room, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, they need to get healthy, but the offense didn't look right all season. We'll see what they do moving forward. I don't know. The Texans, I kind of feel bad. They're the forgotten team. But
early on, too, I was impressed.
Lot of expectation.
Yeah, it was exciting early on, but it's kind of a bummer.
Back a ton. For more on the Red Sox offseason, check out Nesson's baseball podcast, 310 to Left. We know you have a lot of questions about the Sox future, so we ask the players, coaches, executives, and alum those same on 310 to Left. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever else you get your podcasts. It's 310 to Left. And if you're watching on Nesson's YouTube page, hit the subscribe button as well. All right, Natalie, so this is exciting to talk about. Women's Beanpot Championship.
Full swing.
Tonight, you'll be hosting pre and post and all the intermission shows on that, which is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
I want to start with the table setter. I know you spoke to Taze Thompson of Northeastern, and he was going for a three-peat. Give us a nice little intro to this convo with Taze, and you tossed to it too.
Yeah.
I'm going to hand the baton to you. A little warm-up for your hosting.
Taze Thompson, I mean, she's on fire. I think she's got 5 Beanpot goals, and not only has she scored for Northeastern, but also Harvard, because she started her career at Harvard, transferred over to Northeastern, and now is leading this team as the captain. But yeah, she had a lot of wonderful things to say. Always a pleasure talking to Taze. So without further ado, here's Taze Thompson. And now we are joined by the captain of the Northeastern Huskies, Taze Thompson. Taze, it's great to have you on, as always. But how excited are the Huskies to get back to the TD Garden tomorrow afternoon?
Oh my gosh, we're so excited. I think getting a taste of it last year, and being in that atmosphere and being able to play in front of all those little girls and friends and family was just a once in a lifetime experience. So to know that we have earned our spot back in the final, I think the energy and the enthusiasm is through the roof right now. So I know we're ready to go tomorrow.
Despite the game, of course, that's the important part, but the atmosphere and just the potential to kind of bring more people into the garden, bring more visibility to the game. Is that something that the team is most looking forward to?
Absolutely. I think last year we really got our first taste of what girls hockey could be like and kind of the enthusiasm around cheering on women's sports and us in at the collegiate level. So to see and play in front of all those little girls and, to show them that they could also do that too in the future and they could be able to perform on a stage like that really is a cool feeling.
And this is almost well, it's an exact rematch of last year, Boston
Yeah.
University, Northeastern in the finals. I'm sure the Beanpot has a different kind of bragging rights, but to be back, in this game with BU again, what kind of a competition are you expecting?
I think it's going to be an incredible game. I think it's going to be close as it always is. I think when you are really defending a title, there's a lot of pride that goes into that. And then on the contrary, when you're trying to take something back that someone took from you last year, there's definitely going to be a lot of amp around that. So I think for us, really focusing on trying to keep what we've earned and not let anyone take that from us. That's, I think, the really driving force. But I know it's going to be a good game. It's always a big rivalry between any of the Boston schools. But I think the fans and we can expect a super fast, high-paced hockey game.
Having been in just multiple bean pots yourself, I know you started at Harvard, past couple years at Northeastern. You've had some personal success as well. But how can you draw upon your experience just with this tournament and really kind of get the team on board and lead them through just another, amazing hockey game?
Yeah, I think a message, we've said a couple times is playing within the glass and also just focusing on what we do best as a team. Like our game doesn't change no matter where it's played, who it's played in front of. When you put on that jersey, you're representing a legacy of Huskies that came before you and championships won before you. And you're also playing for the little girl that we once were, 10, 15 years ago. So I think the message is always, just go out and have fun. And we do it because we love it. And while it is a little bit more high stakes of a game, the end result, we do it because we love it. We do it because it's fun. We love the competition. And that's never going to change.
How exciting is it for you as a senior, as a captain, to see some of the freshmen and the newcomers on your team have this opportunity to come in, play for Northeastern, but play at the TD Garden as well?
I'm so excited for them. We have such a good group of girls, and our freshmen are just incredible. And I think they're all wise beyond their years, and they've all came in and just, been such an impact, all of them. And our goaltender Lisa, for example, to see her have an opportunity to be in net, and as a freshman, she's just earned every inch of that net that she's claimed since she got in at the start of the year. And I think it's really cool, like for someone like Lisa and Tuva coming over from overseas to be able to play in a tournament like this, and all the freshmen. It's so exciting, and to be a part of that your first year in college and to get a taste of that. I know they're pumped and they deserve it. Like they've just all been incredible. So to see them be really excited about it is really cool.
Last question. How much planning has gone into the arrival outfits? We have to know.
Honestly, there was just two rules, and it was look good and be dialed. Like it was we said if you wanna, you wanna have an accessory that supports your love for Boston, do it. But our mission is to look good, feel good, play good, go in looking the best that we can. And it's always so fun being able to dress the part and walk in. And it's so fun picking out, a fun game day outfit. It's great. It's the energy around it is awesome. That's something
Yeah.
I'll definitely miss in the future.
Look good and be dialed. We love it. Well, we're excited to see the outfits. We're excited to see the game. Happy for you as always. So, good luck in your preparation. Good luck in the game, and we can't wait to see you out there, Taze.
Thanks, Natalie. It was great talking to you.
You too. And Lily Brazis on the Northeastern Huskies was actually who Taze said had the best walk-in style.
Oh, nice.
But Lily said Taze has the best walk-in style. So I guess the bar...
Game recognized game.
I know. Bar set pretty high. Last year, the ladies were walking in Bruins jerseys and all that kind of stuff. So it was really cool to see. But as always, that third place game, Boston College versus Harvard, 4:30 p.m. And then you get the rematch. BU, Northeastern, 7:30 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean... Like we were kind of talking about with Taze, it's just the fact that, BU Northeastern last year, Northeastern walks away with the trophy.
Yep.
BU's going to be hungry.
Yeah.
They're going to want to come in, and they've had a great season so far. They're coming in, and they want this bad.
Yeah, I bet. And it's 2-1 win last year that decided in overtime. It was Skylar Irving with the game-winning goal. And then even think about like BU's best player, Julia Shaughnessy. She didn't play in the tournament last year.
Yeah.
So that's like what adds to the fuel on this one.
Yeah.
It's so unique, and I think like one of the best moves is also taking the women's championship game and bringing it to the Garden as well.
Yeah.
You put players on that NHL ice, you put them in that massive building, the fan bases, the student bodies, they show out.
Yeah.
Especially NU and BU right down the road.
Yep.
Take the green line from Northeastern. I feel like they could walk. I don't even know how you get there from NU. BU is just take the green line right to North Station. You're there. But it's how they show out. That's what makes this fun. And this is Northeastern for the women's side going for a three-peat, while the men's side are going for a three-peat too.
Yeah.
So there's so much on the
100%.
line for both schools. And as always is like BU, NU, and what you get with the Hockey East schools, they're always some of the top programs in the country. So I'm sure, and what have you heard from like the BU side when talking with those players on what it means to them to get another shot at beating Northeastern? Not just a shot at winning the Beanpot, but beating Northeastern.
Yeah, you know what, BU, they've had it's been a funny year for them as well, because they've had a lot of, behind the scenes movement with their facilities. The Walter Brown has been shut down, undergoing renovations. So Tara Watchorn actually told us a couple days ago, she said the culture that this team has been able to build without even having really like a home base, without having a place to, the lounge, the rink they always go to. She said they haven't had that. And the culture is incredible. She's in year 2 of coaching this program. Megan Myers, her assistant, is one of her best friends from coaching prior to BU, playing together and coaching now together at BU. So I just think the culture really stems down from the coaching staff, and the team has done a really nice job running with it. But you mentioned Julia Shaughnessy.
Yeah.
She's a firecracker.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the semifinal game, she had an assist on the game-tying goal with 55 seconds left, and the assist on the game-winning goal 3-on-3 in OT. So she's a difference maker for that team, George. I think you're definitely going to have to mark her when you're watching this game.
Who has it always comes down to goalies too.
Yeah.
Between BU and NU, who do you feel like has a goalie advantage? Or how do they stack up against one another?
BU has the advantage, but that's nothing, against Northeastern. What's interesting is it's a freshman goaltender, as Taze mentioned, Lisa Jensen. This is her first time playing on NHL ice, playing in a Beanpot, playing for Northeastern, first year. So it's been a huge thing for her to really kind of step up to, and she's done a really nice job. This team is known for having very strong goaltending. Dave Flint, being a former goaltender himself, he just turns out successful goaltenders. Gwyneth Phillips last year, she was outstanding. But Callie Shanahan on the BU side, she returned to the Beanpot last year after missing the first half to injury, and it seemed like she came into the Beanpot and she just fed off of it. She came in and she looked like she hadn't missed any time. So I think Callie Shanahan is going to feel like she has a lot to prove this year, but Lisa Jensen, I'm excited to see her step up to the task.
That'll be exciting to see. And when you look at, for someone that's covered this tournament for so many years, you've covered it when it would be, they would switch it between BU, Northeastern, like the host sites between the schools. What have you seen that makes it like elevate? Now it's at TD Garden. Now they're taking the women's championship game to be played there. What does that do for like the overall atmosphere of the game?
It's just exciting. There's so much growth. I think, some of the Boston Fleet players are actually going to be in attendance for this because they are home on Wednesday. So I think this is something that they want to come to. It's something that youth hockey teams are coming to. Youth hockey teams are canceling practices and games to be at the TD Garden. So it's just something that elevates the visibility, makes these girls a lot more accessible. I remember last year, prior to the championship game, Northeastern had come out to watch the end of the BC Harvard game, and little girls were actually going down to them and asking for their autographs, and they were doing it. So it's just a really nice atmosphere, a nice environment for women's hockey to take advantage of.
We've talked about Julia Shaughnessy, Skylar Irving, Taze Thompson. What's one player you think Let's go BU outside of Shaughnessy.
Yeah.
Who's like a player you're watching, and then same thing for Northeastern.
Yeah.
If it is one of the ones we named, but like, who do you think? Like, who are the studs on each side?
Oh God, so many studs. I think it's fun to watch the freshmen. I think Lola Reed she started pretty strong. I think BU's kind of been waiting for her to kind of catch up a little again and just kind of find her rhythm. I think Lindsay Bachna was very exciting for the team. She spent 4 years at Providence, and this is her first time getting to experience a Beanpot.
Yeah.
She had a massive, massive goal, and she's a power forward, so she's a ton of fun to watch for that team. Northeastern, Eloise Caron and Morgan Jackson, 2 freshmen on that top line, and they have really found a lot of great chemistry. And they find a way to score goals, whether it's off a skate, a stick, a butt, whatever. It's like they just find the way to put the puck in the back of the net.
Yeah.
I also really like Lily Shannon. She's got a lot of size, a really good net front presence, playing wing for the first time past couple of games, and she looks pretty good. But I don't know, Tamara Giaquinto, she's always fun to watch on BU too. But yeah, so I guess those are some names that I would be looking out for. But of course, both teams, it's like unexpected, the talent that has emerged for both of them. So
Runs deep.
Yeah, a lot of depth you're seeing. So that's why it's going to be a high scoring, maybe not a high scoring game at all. High competition, that's for sure.
I mean, last year was a 2-1 overtime that decided for the Beanpot title. You asked Taze about it. I got to ask, since you are hosting the pre and post, you have the fit picked out yet? You bringing some heat?
George, I do. I bought a suit.
Full suit?
A full suit, black on
Nice.
black. And it's funny because I was at Aritzia, and everybody was like, what's the occasion? And I was like, it's the 46th annual Duncan Women's Beanpot, guys. So they were like, oh my God, so cool. And they actually were telling me some of their Beanpot memories. They didn't go to any of the Beanpot schools, but they had friends who would go to Northeastern BU, and they would come to the games. So it was kind of funny. I'm shopping for a Beanpot suit, and
Talking Beanpot with peeps.
people were like, oh my God, the Beanpot. This is, I can't believe it's that time of year. And it was kind of cool just to
Black
just talk
suit,
about
what's
that.
the shirt?
Well, it's like a stylish blazer where you don't have to wear like a shirt, I guess. So it's like takes care of itself. But I think the beauty of like black on black is you got to find a statement piece.
Yep.
So I'm thinking the shoes. Haven't gotten the shoes yet, but I'll break
You'll
them out
find
soon.
I like that. That's what
Yeah.
that's what it is. I mean, it's the big games. You
Yeah.
got to have the good fits. It's like the players.
Yeah.
What you say?
put so much
look
thought
good,
into
be
it.
dialed in.
Yeah.
Same thing on your part.
Be
You're like,
dialed.
I'm gonna look good.
Yep.
I'm gonna be dialed in.
Exactly.
Dialed, right?
Dialed. Be dialed. Yep.
Be
dialed
dialed.
in. And then I'll have Gigi Marvin and Carson Duggan with me at the desk.
I'll be excited to see Gigi and Carson both up there.
Yep, Sunny Scagliardich and Bridget Prue and Laura Stickles on the broadcast.
Love it.
So
Full on
it'll be a lot
women's
of fun.
broadcast for the Women's Beanpot Championship. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
Make sure you guys know it. Third place game, BC Harvard 4:30. Championship game, BU versus Northeastern 7:30. When does pregame start? Is it 7?
There's no pregame actually.
Okay, so you'll
just
be
tune
doing
in for-
intermission and then
Yep,
post.
Exactly. Game
Awesome.
1 starts at 4:30 and you go from there.
Yeah, puck drop 7:30 right on Nesson. You'll see Natalie Noury with her whole crew on that as well. It'll be on Nesson. Huge game, BU Northeastern is what the Beanpot's all about.
Yep.
This was Boston has entered the chat. George Balekji, Natalie Noury, thank you guys so much for making us a part of your day. Wherever you get your podcast, make sure to like, subscribe, download, rate, and review Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime, wherever that may be. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, and join the chat as well. I'm GB. She's Double N. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, everyone.